A very good morning to all my dear students. This is Silpreet Kaur, your social science teacher. I hope you all are doing good at home. We have already completed first chapter of history. Today we are starting with the second chapter of history. From trade to territory, the company establishes power. In this chapter, we will discuss that how East India Company that entered into India for trading became a ruler of our country. But before we start our chapter, we should know that Indian history is broadly divided into three categories. These are ancient history, medieval history, and modern history. You all know that in ancient history we talk about Indus Valley civilization, Vedas, and famous dynasties. And medieval history talks about started when the Muslims came to India. It talks about Mughal Empire, right? And modern history, when we talk about modern history, it deals with the coming of Britishers in India and the freedom struggle of Indians. Our chapter lies somewhere between the medieval history and modern history. So, here we will talk about that only. These are the list of some rulers, Mughal rulers, who ruled our country for a long period of time. Aurangzeb was the last powerful ruler. Here, the Aurangzeb, one of the famous rulers of medieval history, was the last powerful Mughal ruler. His successors, such as Bahadur Shah, Jahandar Shah, these were all weak rulers. So we can say Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal ruler who established his control over a large part of India. But after his death in 1707, many Mughal governors, who were then known as Subedars and the big zamindars, established their own small kingdoms. Thus Delhi lost its position of an effective center. So now we know what exactly was going in the 18th century, but by that time, slowly but gradually, a new power known as British started emerging in India. Now the question arises, why Britishers came to India? How East India Company, a small trading company, became ruler of India? We'll try to understand this in this our chapter. In this chapter, the East India Company comes to East. In 1600, the East India Company acquired a charter from Queen Elizabeth I, granting it the sole right to trade in East. With this charter, what is charter? Charter is a written grant, means a written legislative paper of the country that gives you a permission. With this charter, the company had no fear of competition, so as no other company of England could trade in East except East India Company. With this charter, company could venture across new oceans, looking new lands for goods at cheaper rate, such as spices, silk, and cotton clothes, and sell them at the higher prices in Europe. At the time, mercantile trading companies do made profit primarily by excluding competition, so they could buy goods cheap and sell it at dear prices. The first ship sailed down the west coast of Africa, round the Cape of Good Hope, and crossed the Indian Ocean. But was it easy for the East India Company to trade in East when it entered India? It was found that some other competitors were already trading in here. The Royal Charter, however, could not prevent other European powers from entering eastern markets. The Portuguese had already established their presence in the western coast of India and had their base in Goa. It was Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer, who had discovered the sea route to India in 1498. The Dutch too were exploring the possibilities of trade in the Indian Ocean, and soon the French traders also arrived. Who were they? Actually, they were the Portuguese who entered India in 1498. It was Vasco da Gama who discovered the sea route to India. He was a Portuguese explorer who discovered the sea route to India in 1498. Even after that, the Dutch and the French have also arrived here. So, Was going on in 1498 and 1707? That's we have to discuss here. Listen, 1498 Portuguese came to India, 1595 for Dutch arrived to India in Pulicat in 1595. Then came the French uh, who entered India in 1664. It means Britishers have the competition with the Dutch, Portuguese, German, and French. Now, this created a huge problem as the good become more expensive, resulting into less earning for East India Company. The problem was that all the companies were interested in buying the same things and selling it in Europe. The fine quality of cotton and silk produced in India had a big market in Europe, and pepper, cloves, cardamom, cinnamon too were in great demand in Europe. Competition amongst the European companies thus pushed the prices up at which these prices could be purchased, and this reduced the profit that they could earn. So the only way the trading companies could flourish was to eliminating rival competitors. What did the company do then? In order to safeguard its interests, each and every trading company entered into a trade war. So, to urge to secure the market, therefore, they led to the fierce battle between the trading companies. Through the 17th and 18th centuries, they regularly sank each other's ships, blocked routes, and prevented rival ships from moving with the supplies of goods. Trade was carried on with arms, and trading posts were protected through fortifications. This effort to fortify settlements and carry on profitable trade also led to intense conflict with local rulers. And the company therefore found it difficult to separate trade from politics. So, in the next class, we will see how they have started politics in the country and established a great empire. This is it for today. It was an introductory class. Hope you like it. Thank you. Have a nice day.